Hello everybody, E here. Welcome back to another Stephen King Theorist review. This video is going to be full of spoilers for the Stephen King universe, so if that's not what you're looking for, there is a short, literally on my shorts tab, there is a short review of the story itself that should be up at the same time as this video. But for those of you that want to hang around that have read the short story The Mangler, that is what we're talking about. The Mangler, which is like the fifth, I think, short story in Stephen King's first collection, Night Shift. Now on with the connections. Okay, so The Mangler is a very straightforward story about a possessed machine. It is, I believe, a folder or something in the laundry. If you don't know, Stephen King worked many jobs before he became the king of horror, whatever you want to call it. And one of those, he worked in a laundry. And there's this big pressing machine that you feed the sheets through. I believe it dries it, folds it, steams it, all that stuff. And it's supposed to have a safety bar on it. And the Mangler does have a safety bar on it, but it's this bar that if anything hits it, it'll snap down, everything comes to a skittering halt. If you have a table saw, you know what I'm talking about, or those table saws that have the thing where if it even touches anything that isn't like wood or whatever, it automatically stops. That's what the safety bar is for. But this thing, this machine is obviously possessed. And we're going to talk about what it's possessed by. I have long said that any of these stories, and Stephen King has revisited this theme over and over and over again, of killer machines. You have Trucks, you have Maximum Overdrive, you have Christine, you have Mile 81, you have From a Buick 8, so on and so forth. And I am going to use From a Buick 8 here. And the reason for that is because in From a Buick 8, it's obvious that there was a portal or a thinny or whatever you want to call it in the trunk or in the car, the Buick 8, that's from the title, the titular Buick 8. In this one, there isn't much to go off of, but I did find some stuff that I found very, very interesting. The first thing is the graveyard that is discussed. Pleasant Hill is in Salem's Lot, and it is mentioned. Pleasant Hill is mentioned, and it is 5 miles away from the Blue Ribbon Laundry. So once again, it's still within this very small vicinity. There is a map of Stephen King's Maine, but Cemetery Dance is selling it, and I'm not giving them my money. Yes, I do have a lot of Cemetery Dance stuff, but that was before I found out how bad their business practices are right now. And no, I'm not going to do some video taking them down like I used to back in the day. I'm done with that kind of stuff. I'm just going to stop giving them my money, and I'm going to tell people not to bother with them, since it takes them 6 to 10 years, sometimes even more, to produce one limited edition when it only takes Suntup and Dark Regions Press and all these other guys less than a year, okay? And it's not like they're super higher quality. But anyways, let's move on. There is something here that I think that the same type of entity that Pennywise is, the same entity that it is the same type of entity that is in the Mangler. And what I mean by that is it has deadlights. For a moment, 2 fireballs glared at them like lambent eyes filled with a great and cold hunger. In it, Stephen King refers to the deadlights as cold. It's not really a fireball. Even though he says fireballs here, it is a cold hunger. It's cold and seeking. So I believe this is tied in also. On top of that, Hunton's hair gone white like Bowers in It. Anytime anybody comes across these types of creatures, now yes, it is like a trauma thing. When you have really strong bad trauma, your hair can go white. Anyways, it is actually a thing. But in this one, I think since he brought up the deadlights, that it is definitely connected to it, and it is the same type of entity. Is it the same one? Who knows? There are several theories that think that the Wendigo or the Wendy Boy, whatever, the Wendigo in Pet Sematary, there are plenty of people who believe that that was it also, or a creature like it, so on and so forth. Because, you have the old indigenous, the mythos and all that stuff, and then you have the way that they defeat it, the Wendigo, the tribe from it. I know It Welcome from Derry and Chapter 1 and to call it the Shapapiwa, I believe it is. I don't think that's what it's called in the book. But anyways, I am going to go along that route, and I'm going to say that it is an entity like it, especially with those two fireballs. But here's another thing. We're going into gray matter next week. And gray matter is 100% tied into it, to a dream catcher, to Mr. Gray, okay? At the opening of It by Stephen King is like, I'm Pennywise the Dancing Clown, or Mr. Gray. And gray matter is about a shape-shifting alien entity. If that doesn't connect it hard, I don't know what does. Now, did Stephen King come up with all this stuff back then? I think he did. And what I mean by that is I think by the time he had put together this entire collection with all of these stories, and that's why the Mangler followed right up by the Boogeyman, followed right up by gray matter. I think all three of these stories being together gave him the idea that all of these things are connected. Because we will get to it in the Boogeyman, but the Boogeyman is obviously Pennywise. It's obvious. He says some of the same things or a creature like Pennywise. And we know that there's more than one because we have the outsider. So there's these creatures pop up all the time. We also have Joe Hill's new book, King Sorrow, and King Sorrow is definitely 100% a creature like Pennywise. So that's how I'm going to connect it, because Pennywise is connected with the Dark Tower series by the Wastelands. And then you have... we'll get to more. I don't want to spoil anything for future episodes. But yeah, the Boogeyman and Gray Matter, those two stories definitely tie in my opinion, to Pennywise. But I also think that this was the point, once Stephen King started putting this collection together, I think he was like, wait a second, I can definitely make all this stuff into one universe. Did he do that? I don't know, man. But I'm the Stephen King theorist, not the fact farmer, okay? It's just a theory. It's just a fan theory. I'm not saying Stephen King did all this stuff, but I think it would be hella cool if one day he came out and he said, hey, yeah, I was doing Night Shift, and I just suddenly realized that, hey, all of this stuff could be the same monster. Anyways, am I too far off for you guys? Do you not think they're the Deadlights? Let me know what you think down there in the doobly-doo. But until next time, I have been E, you have been you. This has been another Thursday Theorist or Stephen King Theorist review. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye!